Are you ready? Okay, so this is how you use OpenClaw to close clients using cold outreach. So cold outreach, follow this to the end, guys. If you want to be able to use autonomous AI agents to close leads using cold outreach, you have to understand how cold outreach works aside from the system. Because if you have an agent sending out a bunch of shitty, terrible emails, good luck. It doesn't matter how many emails you send, it's not gonna work. So I'm going to break down with you the exact framework that I use so you can use it too in your own business. I'm going to give you the exact OpenClaw integrations, the exact skills you're going to need, the exact connections that you're going to need, and I'm going to break down some of the strategy that I used. This is the same principled strategic strategy and breakdown that I've used to close meetings with Amazon, GitHub. I'm just saying dozens and dozens of Inc. 5000. We booked hundreds and hundreds of meetings. We booked as many as 32 meetings in 72 hours for clients. We've done all sorts of crazy stuff, and it comes down to your value proposition, what you are including, and what is in it for them. So you always have to understand that regardless, if you're doing investor outreach, if you're doing sales outreach, if you're doing podcast outreach, if you're doing partnership outreach, if you're doing affiliates outreach, anything that you are doing, they need to know and be very clear what is in it for them. Okay, because these emails and this correspondence and this messaging is not about you. So if you want your OpenClaw to close deals, you have to understand, okay, that you don't be saying I, me. Everything in your prompting has to be positioned around them, their business, their needs, what matters to them. And AI and OpenClaw can give you that context and that insight at scale for pennies on the dollar using OpenClaw. So I'm going to break this down really quick. We're going to go into this copy that I used, okay? I included very specifically 3 specifics. So see this right here? So this is just for me. I gave them specifics on how I could serve them and how I can help them and how I can support them and why that is beneficial to them, their audience, their people, what they have going on. So if I want to sell someone, so this copy right here resulted in a new client. And it's just amazing because all I did was follow this principled approach. Okay, so I made sure that it's about them. Okay, I made sure I'm leading with value. I'm making sure that I'm not asking for anything. I am requesting to provide them something. So it's a huge difference, guys. So this is the most important part of your cold email outreach right here. This is why 80, 90% of people that send cold emails fail because they don't get this right. Okay. And so now we're going to break down to how do you actually send these. So the way that we did it is we connected Nikki to her own Google Drive, to her own Google Sheets, Google Docs, to her own Gmail. So she has her own Gmail. So this was not mass outreach. We sent 10 emails, closed the client, okay? Because we used precision and we told Nikki what to look for, who we were looking for, who's qualified, who's not qualified, what information to get on them that we can then use in our copy to position ourselves and write hyper-personalized, hyper-relevant, value-based copy. And I want you to win too. So the first thing you're going to have to do is, so over here in skills in ClawHub, there's going to be one called API Gateway. So this right here is going to allow you to connect very easily and simply, literally zero effort, into all of these different softwares. So what you're going to see in here is you can do this. Listen, you can connect straight to Google. You can do the OAuth. You can do all that stuff. For simplicity, getting started fast, beginner level, don't want the complexity of all these other steps. This is what you're going to want to use, guys. So as you can see, it's got everything from like Calendly to Asana, even Apollo. So Active Campaign. So this is going to allow you to very seamlessly connect to all these different things: QuickBooks, Notion, Netlify, Monday.com, Mailgun, Zoho, SendGrid. So all these different, platforms that exist that you can connect to. And this is how we connected her to Gmail. So this is the step 1, okay? And then you need to make sure that you have your Brave Search API key set up. Okay. So we use this. This is how we're doing our research. Nothing fancy, nothing special. Okay. And then when it comes to your models, so the models that we are using, I'm going to show you exactly what we're using. I'm going to show you my entire, actually, I'll just show you my, I think I'll just show you my bill. So I'll go to here and I go to credits. Oh, wow. Okay. We spent 5 days today. So, I mean, I'm spending a little bit of money doing we're building a whole bunch of stuff. Let me just move this. So if I go to activity, so this is the price difference, guys. So I'm just letting you know, like I've used what 44.7 million tokens, and then I used 19 million, and then I've used little ones over here. I've only spent $64 so far on with what I'm doing. Okay, and so the model I'm using is MiniMax M2.5. Okay, and then sometimes I use Kimi 2.5 as a fallback. And then I find for heartbeats, we use like the free models, okay? And then we have a fallback for those free models in case they're throttled and there's no like tokens available, you know, based on the request limits for those models, okay? So MiniMax is what wrote the emails. So we just had MiniMax, super cheap. Like I'm telling you, this is the cheapest cold emails I have ever written that are decent and actually following instructions and processes. So this is the second step, guys. And then what you need, just like I showed you here, is you need somewhere to store it. So the thing about AI, okay? The thing about AI, guys, okay, is it doesn't need your user interface. It doesn't need my user interface. It just needs somewhere to store the freaking data. And it's going to naturally put those in the MD files. And so you have to tell it to give you what you need aside from what it needs, because it's just going to store everything inside of, you know, its own little databases and its own little brain and its own little, you know, MD markdown files. So you have to give it very, very strict prompt instructions. So we got sent, draft ready, skip invalid email, because this is the next part you're going to need to be able to pull this off, guys. You need something that can programmatically get people's emails. So if you give someone their first name and then you give them their website domain, this right here for super cheap will tell you what their email is. So if your name is John Doe and your website is example.com, it will programmatically run a whole bunch of guesses and then do MX handshakes to verify what one is actually real. And then it will give you a validated email address. So that's another story, another complex, but this is the path of least resistance. This is what you need. You need to connect this with your OpenClaw because it can validate emails with this, and then it can guess people's emails if you don't have the email with this, and then it can email them. So see how powerful this is? You don't need a Polo. You don't need anything. You don't need anything. You just need to make sure your agent has the right tools to get the emails. This is how we got the emails. Okay? And then obviously keeping your costs down, guys, is the number one thing right here. Okay? So that literally, guys, right there is everything that I connected together. It is the skills, it is the gateways, it's the API access points, it's the tools, it's the strategy. I literally just showed you the framework in which I use, making sure that I am increasing perceived value by reducing perceived risk and leading with value and making it about them. Okay? So there's no one way to do this, but this is a way. And this had a successful conversion on our first test using what we've been doing for years with cold outreach. Okay? I've been doing years for cold outreach. We used to use Clay, Instantly, and all these things. So while scalability, you're still going to need something like Instantly, you no longer need tools like Clay. You can build your own, okay? You can build processes and systems and give those API endpoints, give the accesses to your bot. And so the one trade-off with like Clay, for example, clay.com, is that, you know, you can rent off their credits. You don't have to buy credits and buy all these plans, okay? So that's kind of the middle ground. But now, if you know what you're doing and you know what you need, you just run this. So this right here, guys, this right here is what we are doing and what we are now starting to scale and we're just going to build a whole AI agent thing around this, because you got to generate leads, guys. You've got to build awareness, people to know who you are, what you do. You have to create those relationships, and you have to start those conversations. So this is the strategy, guys. If you want me to do this with you, if you want me to help you set your stuff up, if you want me to build it for you, or if you just want a little bit more information and context, go to launchmyopenclaw.com. And then also down below, there's a link, and same on launchmyopenclaw.com. There is a link, guys, okay? And you can book, okay? I can build this with you, and we can just cut through the fluff and get straight to the things and just do a power 60, 90-minute session, get you set up, get a battle plan, literally understand what your next steps are beyond that conversation. And on that call, you're going to get, literally, we're going to build together. And you're going to know exactly how to build. And then we're going to tell you what you're going to have to build after our call as well, too. So we're going to take action. You're going to get education. You're going to get clarity. And you're going to get a system that fucking works. Okay? And this is all new territory. We're all growing experts. I can't even say that I am an expert because this is new technology. But I just maybe know a little bit more than you do. And I want to help you and guide you and assist you. So I hope this helped. Book a call. Okay? Go check out launchmyopenclaw.com, subscribe, like, follow, and thank you so much for watching. And I hope that this video showed you exactly what you can do to win based on how we are winning with some of the strategies, the frameworks, the tools, the AIs, everything that we are bringing together. So God bless. Thank you so much. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe.